Hello, you. It's me. And, jeez, I have been watching, not totally, but I've been watching some of these are they called red pillars? I don't even know what they're called. I just call them idiots who think they know it all. Anyway, um, I was seeing clips of these different podcasts, including the one called, I think it's called Whatever, something like that. And they take women who are OnlyFans girls or who are ladies who are independent, and then there's this row of guys on the other side who just break them, say nasty things about them throughout the whole podcast, and in some places just kick them off when the ladies actually might have a good point. At least that's one that I saw where a girl made a good point and the guy's just like, get out of here. What happened was he didn't pronounce her first name correctly, so she corrected him and said, it is this. And he goes, oh, it's this, whatever. I'm not good with names, so I'm probably just going to say your name wrong throughout the whole podcast. And so she says, okay, sure, and then uses a different name for him. And he's like, oh my God, that's so disrespectful. Get out of here. And I was laughing because I thought to myself, yeah, I would do the same thing. If somebody tells me that they're willfully going to mispronounce my name and it's not their problem, then I'm going to willfully mispronounce their name as well. So if their name is Steve, I'll call him Tom or Dave or whatever. And I actually secretly sometimes do the same thing when I'm on the phone. When someone says, what's your name? And I say it. And then, 2 minutes later, they're like, what's your name again? No, I just give them a different name. Oh, my name's Susan. Wait, what's your name? Oh, it's Jacqueline. Wait, what is your name? Tiffany? I just do it at them until they get my name right. And let me clear you on it. They eventually get my name right. And I find it funny. But anyway, yeah, I've been watching. There's so many of these guys who are standing there. If you meet a woman and she doesn't immediately go down to her knees and say, I'll do whatever you want, master, well then she's not a good woman. She's not a valuable woman. What is this with high value people? It's just ridiculous. And these guys who say these ridiculous things, do you think they're high value guys? One guy said that you should never date a woman who lives alone because she's been ran through by 100 different guys, because she always brings guys home because she lives alone, so she can do whatever she wants. When has that ever happened? I watched that one specifically on Tree of Logic on her channel, and she's like, no, single women have to be very careful who they invite into their home because they're single and they can be vulnerable. And I was like, yeah, exactly. I know lots of people, including myself, who live alone, and my best friend is my bat when I open my door, just in case. I don't have it threatening. I just have it behind the door in my hand in case I need it. Could I use it successfully? Who knows? But at least it gives me a shot if I have to protect myself. But yeah, there's no way I just invite men right, left, and sideways to come to my home to have sex with. It's ridiculous. I don't know where these guys get these weird ideas. I think that maybe they're projecting a little bit. Like that guy, maybe if he were single and living in his own place, he would be inviting girls left, right, and sideways to his home. Maybe that's where they get it from. I really don't know. But please, very little of what once in a while they might get something correct. But very often they don't. It's better you just avoid them. I can see why they'd be popular though, because they're hilarious to watch. Although I honestly I can't get through more than 10 minutes without turning it off, because I just find it ridiculous. They're so ridiculous, and their false comparisons and things are just. I wish there's one that one had said that. Oh, one of them said you can't live without men because everything you see around you was created by men. And he had a computer in front of him. I'm like, yeah, you know that the computer language was developed by a woman, right? You know that, right? It's kind of silly because men and women were meant to work together. Men have their strengths, and yes, men and women are different. Men have their strengths, and women have their strengths. Men are stronger physically, and they can do. Oh, I remember what it was. He was showing some of the best paying, I think it was the top 10 best paying blue collar worker jobs, and at least 90% plus were men working those jobs. And the women were like, yeah, because I don't want to do that job. But it's not just that they don't want to do that job. They're not qualified to do those jobs. And it's not because it's labor intensive, because women are waitresses. That's very labor intensive. You're running around getting things done. Being a teacher is very labor intensive. Have to walk around, teach, be there for all the children. Motherhood is also, being a stay-at-home mom, having to clean, cook, do laundry. You're running around doing errands. You're taking care of the kids, whether it's picking them up, taking them somewhere, whatever it is. That's all very labor intensive. They may not understand that, but it's all very labor intensive. But that's the kind of labor we're built to be able to do. The kind of things that they were talking about, like iron worker, I couldn't do that. One, I don't have the strength. And that's a major thing. A lot of the things they were talking about, to qualify, you have to be able to at least 50 pounds or more. I can't lift 50 pounds or more. If I could just barely for a moment, maybe if I brought it up over my head, then put it down, and then rest for the rest of the day. Labor intensive is not what deters women. Maybe some women. But it's the kind of labor that is being done. Women are not built the same as men for that. It's the same as, women are built to nurture, have children. Men can't have children. I mean, they can have their woman have a child for them, or a woman have a child for them. But they said that women can't live without men. Men can't live without women either. Because they can, do their thing and spit out babies all they want, but it's not going to grow into a child unless a woman holds it in her body and incubates it for 9 months and then gives birth. So there would just be no people if men and women couldn't work together for that. And I think that these men, they miss the point completely. They say women need to be subservient to them. And in essence, that could be true in a way. But they go about it in a way that doesn't make sense. And I can't remember where I saw this from, but they made a really good point. It might have been Amala, I think that's how you say her name. It was on a short that she did with another person talking about this whole submissive thing. And what they were saying initially was that if a man is strong and leads with kindness and gives consideration and thoughtfulness and treasures his woman or man, treasures his partner, then the partner is a lot more likely to say hey, yeah, let's do that thing you want to do. Or, hey, yeah, you did so much for me today. Let me do something for you today too. And it's definitely a back and forth. But these men are trying to lead by being just assholes. And guess what? That's called abuse. And that is not something that any person deserves. And I apologize for saying men, women in relationships, because obviously there's a lot more than that. But I'm using it as an example, so I hope that's clear. Um, but specifically how men are different from women. Um, yeah, if you lead by bullying somebody or saying, hey bitch, go get me that, well, that's not being a strong leader. That's being a dick. That's not how you lead. They always talk about leading with an iron fist, but that's not necessary in a relationship. Now, there are some relationships that are kind of dominant, submissive, where a woman really loves to be submissive to their man and let them handle everything. They don't have to think for themselves, because their love language is, you tell me what to do and I'll do it because I trust you. So that does exist, and it reverse as well, from man to man, woman to woman. A woman also can be the strong, more masculine figure, and the man will just do whatever she tells him to do because he trusts her. And maybe, for example, she's better with finances than he is. So he just gives her his paycheck and says, okay, pay the bills or do whatever you need to do. And she does it because she does that well. But these manosphere people, I hate to call them men. I mean, they act more like children, but they don't really understand that. You complement each other. You don't go against each other, and you don't force each other. Things like that don't happen. The only time force, if you want to call it that, would be legitimate is, let's say, if one person is suffering a terrible breakdown, or they've hurt themselves terribly and they need to go to the hospital. Sometimes the other partner has to force them to go because they don't want to, because they're scared or for whatever reason. And in that case, force might be applicable because you want to save their life. You want to make sure they're safe and healthy and all that. And true partners, they'll understand that about each other and eventually will go. But in most cases, if you force someone to do something because that's their quote-unquote role, it won't be for much longer. In fact, another great point that was made, is that women have become more masculine because men are not doing that. They're not leading. They're not taking charge of a situation and making more money or helping to take care of the house. They're not doing what they are quote unquote supposed to be doing. So women have to man up and do it themselves. That's not great either. I know that's what I have had to do, if you want to call it that, is I have to be very independent because there's no one there who's going to take on the role and help me. I've been through a lot of bad relationships, guys. I have a lot of experience in this. These manosphere people just don't understand. They don't get it. I think to a big degree, incels don't get it either. You don't love bomb somebody, nor do you get really strict with somebody. You have to find that happy medium, and you have to care about them. A good example is one time I had a roommate. He and I were close for a short period of time. Not like a boyfriend-girlfriend thing, just close. We had some similar backgrounds and similar interests, and we complimented each other as friends. And he knew how much I love to write. And pens are a very big deal for me. I must have a specific kind of pen, a specific kind of size of the tip of the pen. I'm very particular. And he knew that. And for Christmas, he bought me a pen. Beautiful pen. I had that thing for years. I loved it. But that's because he knew me. He was thoughtful. It wasn't expensive, but it didn't have to be. It was what I liked and what I would have wanted. And he picked it out for me. Best Christmas gift I ever received in my life. Because he was thoughtful. And I think that's what these guys are missing. They're not being thoughtful. They're being very demanding, but they're not being thoughtful. And that's what partners need to be to each other. It could be something as simple as a gifting a pen, or it could be something different, like buying the right cereal that they know their partner really likes. Just thoughtfulness. Making a dinner that they know their partner will really like. Doesn't matter, male or female. Anyone can do that. Maybe playing a certain song. I once learned a song on my guitar so that I could play it for my then partner, and he loved it. You know, just showing appreciation for each other. And when you do that, you don't even have to ask half the time, hey, can you do this for me or do that? They just do it. They just do it. You don't think about it because you're thinking about how great your partner is and how much you want to do for them. And hopefully they're thinking the same of you. So if you're watching any of these things, Manosphere, red pills, black pills, orange pills, I don't know. I don't know the difference anymore. There's too many. But if you're watching any of these channels, just, take them with a grain of salt. I would say just enjoy the comedy because they are pretty comedic sometimes in the way that they think. Men and women are different, but they complement each other. And complimenting each other isn't just, body parts. Complimenting each other means you appreciate their strengths, you appreciate their weaknesses that you can take on because it's your strength, and you go together and do things together. That's what it's about. Now, of course, there are different relationships, different kinks, all different ways of going about a relationship. But the point is, it just comes down to understanding each other and working together. So please, just don't listen to what they say. It doesn't matter about your weight. It doesn't matter about if you've been with 2 guys or 2,000 guys. If you're loyal, honest, and true, and you want to make a relationship work, that's what you need to look for. That's it. None of this other stuff. You can talk about your history. You can talk about things that you've gone through. It will probably make you feel closer to each other. And if it doesn't, that's not the right partner for you. It's as simple as that. So I hope this helps someone, anyone. If you listened up to this point, thank you very much for listening. I will put out more content as soon as I can. And that's all I got to say.